2 into 3. Then 4 factorial. So this will be 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. Okay. So this is what a factorial function is. So in general, how you can write a factorial function? So an n factorial. So this can be written as 1 into 2 into, right? So etc. Right, up to n minus 1. Let us say, right, you multiply it by n minus 1, and then right you multiply it by n. Okay, so this is your general, right, factorial formula. So usually writing it by starting with 1, right? A usual way of writing these factorials will be, so suppose if it is 5 factorial, we start with 5. Okay, we try to write it in the larger number, right, towards the smaller number. So if it is 5 factorial, we say that this is 5 into 4 into 3 into, right, 2 into 1. And then, right, there is always an end condition. See, this can also be written, right? So 5 factorial can be written as 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. What about a 6 factorial, right? A 6 factorial, it is simply, right, 6 into 5 factorial. So whatever we have, so it will be, right, 6 into 4 into, right, 3 into 2 into 1. Now this can be written as, so this can be written as 6 into whatever is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 is nothing but 5 factorial. So this is 6 into 5 factorial. And again, right, how you can write 5 factorial? So 5 factorial can be written as 5 into 4 factorial. Okay, so like this also we can define it. And what is 4 factorial? So 4 factorial can be written as 4 into 3 factorial. And what about 3 factorial? So 3 factorial can be written as 3 into 2 factorial. Okay, and then 2 factorial. So this can be written as 2 into 1 factorial. So now we need what is 1 factorial. Okay, even, right, if you want, you can expand this 1 factorial, something like this. Say 1 factorial is equal to 1 into 1 minus 1, right? So 1 minus 1 is 0 factorial. So either you can have the start condition as 0 factorial, or we can have the start condition as 1 factorial. Okay, so it depends on your way. Okay, so here, right, let us assume, we have assumed that we start with 1 factorial is equal to 1. So let us assume that that is given. If that is given, then there is no need for this step, because directly we know that 1 factorial is equal to 1. Okay, so suppose, right, in some definitions, right, if it is given as 0 factorial is equal to, assume that 0 factorial is equal to 1, then that means, right, we have to 1 factorial, again we have to write it as 1 into 0 factorial, and the value for 0 factorial, it will be equal to 1. It will never be equal to 0, because we are doing a multiplication here. So while you are doing a multiplication, if it is 0, then everything becomes 0. Okay, so the end case, or the initial condition for 0 factorial or 1 factorial, it must be equal to 1. Only then, right, this factorial definition, it will work. Now, right, you try to write a function. Okay, so I will define the function. You just write the skeleton itself, right? So define a function which is called as factorial. So let us call that as factorial. Okay. Now here, right, you write the parameters, okay, and here you write the code for it. Now let us get, right, a number from the user. Okay. So let us call that as num and get it from the user. Now we got the number, right? Now we have to pass this number. Okay, pass this number to the factorial function, and factorial function, it has to return the result. Okay, so it has to return the result of this. Let us say it is returning, say, in f. Okay, in a variable f, it is returning the result. Okay, now, right, you pass the function. Let us print what is returned by that function. So what is returned by this factorial of num. Okay, So whatever the number you are getting it from the user, so that right, you pass it to factorial function. Factorial function, it will find the factorial of that number, and then it will return, right? It will return the result back to the column. And so at this particular place, we will get the result. Okay, and then we are trying to print what is the result that is returned by this factorial function. Okay, so you try to write this function. So let us uh, you try to write it, right? We will check it at 9:25. Okay, within 10 minutes. So if you so you know, right, uh, if it is, if you are attending it in mobile, right, you can visit this Jupyter notebook, right, and then you can try this function. So here, right, you can copy the same code and you can write it. So this is our objective. Okay, so we have to try to write this function. So here, right, either, right, you can install it or you can try it in your browser. Okay, that's it. Okay, so right, it is too many users running this. So as a result, right, they are getting an error. Okay, so let you try this. Right? I will write it in a paper, right? So that is also fine. So try this, right? We will meet at 9:25 now. Okay. So have you tried it? Uh, any doubts you have? Okay. Okay. So this is fine, right? Um, so we will go by the definition, right? And then let us try to complete this. Okay. Now, if you see, uh, if you want, right, if you want to find, right, say 5 factorial, uh, so 5 is the number that we are passing it to this function. And then, right, you can directly, right, assign whatever is the number that we passed, that is the factorial result. Okay. And after that, you can decrement that number until it hits 1. Okay. Until it hits 1, you can decrement that number. And every time you decrement that number, whatever is the result you have, to that result, you have to multiply that. Okay, multiply that by the number that is being decremented. Okay, so to start with, right, say you have 5. Suppose I need to find factorial of 5. So what I do is I have a result. Okay, that result is my f. Okay, let us assign that f is equal to 5. Okay, and then uh, you have to write, you have to repeat this, right, until you hit this f as sorry, you hit this 5 as your 1. Okay, so this 5 is what you get it inside the function. So let us get it as n. Okay, so every time, right, you decrement this n is equal to n minus 1. Now, right, n will become 4. Now to the result, the result is f. So to the result, right, you multiply that by 4. Okay, so now we will get 20. The next iteration is again n is equal to n minus 1. Okay, you do n is equal to n minus 1. So now we will get 4 minus 1, it will be 3. Okay, and then you multiply that by f. Okay, so now we will get whatever is the result, it is 20. So 20 into 3. Okay. So now the result is 60. Again, you do n is equal to n minus 1. Okay, so now n value is 3. So we will get 3 minus 1, which is equal to 2. So again, you multiply it by the result. So this will be 60 into 2, which will be 120. Okay. And next, right, again, you do n is equal to n minus 1. So 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1. So now we have hit 1. Okay. So when it is 1, right, you can come out of this. There is no need to, otherwise, right, you can also check until it hits 0. Okay. So in this case, right, if it is 0, right, then again, right, f is equal to whatever is the result, that is 120. So into 1. Okay, which is again 1. Now again you do n is equal to n minus 1. Now we have got n value as 0. So when n value is 0, right, now we can stop it. Okay. So if n is greater than 0, you can do all these things. If n is equal to 0, okay, when n is, right, equal to 0, then, right, you can stop it. So that is the version we have here. See here, only the variable names are different. So let us try to write it, right, using this notation. So whatever is passed, right, whatever is passed to this function. So this is your actual parameter num, and this is our formal parameter n. So num will be copied to n. Okay. So now we have the number in n. So as I told you, right, you can initialize f is equal to 5. Okay. So f is the variable that will be holding the result. Okay. So this is the result. Okay. So the result, right, we assume that for now, right, it is equal to 5. Okay. Then you start a loop, right, while n is greater than 0. Okay, it can also be greater than or equal to 0. Right. Now what do you do? N is equal to n minus 1. So that is the first step we do. And after that, you have to multiply it by f. So f is equal to f into n. Okay. So let us print the result, right? Every time, right? What is the f value and what is your n value? Okay. So f value is, it is in f, n value is, it is in f. Okay. So let us print this. And once right we have hit 0, we will okay, once right n value becomes 0 because we are decrementing every step. So once the n value becomes 0, it will come out of this loop and it will return the value of f. Okay, so let us run this right and see whether we are getting the output. Okay, let us say right I give 5. So this is a command. Okay. All right, it is showing an error, right? Greater than, it is not supported between instances of str and int. So that means, right, see, whatever the user inputs, it is an string function. So I have to convert it into a number. Okay, only then it is going to work. Okay, so let us use right eval function, convert it into a number. Let's print n. Right? It has been passed. Okay, so the n value, right, we are getting is 5. Okay, now right n value, right, we are getting it as 5. Now right n will be equal to 4. Okay, and what is the value of f? The value of f is already of 5. Okay, and 5 into, now n value will be 4. So 5 into 4. So let us this is your n value. Now we are making f is equal to f into 1, right? So this is your value of f. So is it okay? So now, right, what we got is 5 into 4, right? So n value is becoming 4, right? And we are printing the n value, so n value is 4. And then f is equal to f into n. Okay, so f value is already, it is 5. So it is 5 into whatever is the n value that we have got here. So 5 into 4, it is 20. So we are getting 20. Okay. And next iteration, it will be, after printing this, next iteration will be whether you have to check whether n is equal to 0, n is greater than 0. Yes, n is greater than 0. So, right, again, we will decrement n. So we will get n is equal to 3. And then it will be f value. F value is whatever we already have. Whatever we already have is 20. So 20 into 3, it will be 60. Okay. Again, you decrement n value. What is n value here? It is 3. So 3 minus 1, it is 2. Okay. So n is greater than 0. So it will go inside. So again, decrement this n. So we will get 2. And now you multiply f into n. So it is 60 into 2, it is 120. Okay. So now we got 120. Again, next iteration, it will be n value is 2. So 2 is greater than 0. Okay. So again, you go inside. So 2 minus 1, it is equal to 1. Okay. So we got 120 into 1, right, which is equal to 120. So that is where we get f is equal to f into n. So that is 1 into 120. So 120 into 1, which is equal to 120. Okay. So next iteration will be n is equal to, so you see here, right? So n is equal to 1 now. And when n is equal to 1, what is happening now? When n is equal to 1, we are going inside. Now we are decrementing n. Okay. So now n is becoming 0, right? So when n is becoming 0, now if you multiply that 0 by this f, what is happening is it is destroying our entire result. Is it not? Right? So So this is the right. This is the problem, right? The factorial, right? That we are calculating by using this function. This is your function, right? Factorial that we are calculating. So it is actually right. It is returning 0. Okay. Now how will you fix this? The factorial of 5 is 0. Okay. Now how will you fix this, right? So that it returns the correct value. So how will you fix this? So why we are getting a 0? The reason is right. When n is equal to 1, it is going inside, and we are decrementing that n. And then when you multiply that n by f, we are getting a 0. Okay. So you have to avoid that last iteration. How will you avoid that last iteration? So rather than checking for n greater than 0, you check for right n greater than 1. Okay. So let us try this. Okay. Let us try this function. So 5. So you see here. Now we have omitted the last iteration. Okay, by incrementing that counter. Okay, by making it stop at previous iteration, right? So we are able to get the correct answer. The factorial of 5 is 120. The reason, right, why we are discussing this factorial function is there is something called as recursion, right? In your programming language, you take C programming language, you take any, you take right the programming languages after 1990s. Almost right, all programming languages will have a feature called as recursion. Now let us write the same program by using a recursion. Now what do you mean by a recursion is a recursive function. It is a function which is calling itself. Okay, so a recursive function. This is a function that calls itself. But right, every time it calls, right, it will call it with a smaller value. Okay, so with some reduced. Okay. So it is a function, right? For example, if I have a function, say a, so it is again right. It is again calling itself. So again, right, inside this function, again we have a call for the same function. Okay, so this is a recursive function. Then right, it will keep on executing this function. It will be a never-ending process. So what will happen is every time, right? Suppose if the original call is n, now every time, right, you call it right the function again, it will be a reduced instance. Okay, it will be a reduced call. Okay, so if you are starting with n, next time, right, you call the same function, it will be n minus 1. Next time you call the same function, it will be n minus 2. Next time you call it n minus 3. Like this, right, it goes on. So let us try to write the same factorial, right, factorial problem by using a recursive function. Now, only right, now what are all the computations that you can write it recursively? See, whatever the computation, you have to express that computation as a recursive formula. Okay, only then it is possible to write it as a recursive function. Okay, it is not that everything right you can write it as recursion. No, that is not right. Only right if you can express a computation using a recursive formula, only then you can write it as a recursive function. Okay, for example, now this is a straightforward definition of a factorial. See, this definition is what we have used it in here. Okay, so here, right, if you see, we are actually doing right this 5 into 4, and then 4 into 3, then we are doing 3 into 2, and then we are doing that's all, right? For one we are not going inside, so it will stop. So it is similarly, right, we are doing it like this: 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. This is what we are trying to imitate it here. Okay, now a recursive definition of this factorial will be, see, if it is for n, you have to in n factorial, you have to define in terms of smaller instances of n. Okay, so how will you define n factorial in terms of say n minus 1 or n minus 2 or n minus 3? That is what we mean by a recursive formula. So n factorial can be written as n into n minus 1 factorial. Okay, now from where, right, we are getting this formula. So if it is right 5 factorial, as I told you, if it is 5 factorial, you see here, if it is 5 factorial, we can write 5 factorial as 5 into 4 factorial. If it is 4 factorial, we can write it as 4 into 3 factorial. So if it is 3 factorial, right? So 5 factorial, if I want to find 5 factorial, I need to know what is the result of 4 factorial. If I know the result of 4 factorial, we can take that 4 factorial, multiply it by 5, we will get 5 factorial. Okay. But for this formula to work, you need to know what is the result of 4 factorial. Okay. So again, right, you apply the same formula to get what is the result of 4 factorial. So 4 factorial can be written as 4 into 3 factorial, right? Then, right, again, if this calculation to work, we need to know what is the value of 3 factorial. So what is 3 factorial? 3 factorial can be written as, again, you apply this formula, it is 3 into 3 minus 1, which is 2 factorial. Okay. Again, right, if I want to find 3 factorial, I can immediately take 2 factorial, the result of 2 factorial, and multiply it by 3. But for again, right, I need to know what is the result of 2 factorial. Okay. So what is the result of 2 factorial? So 2 factorial can be written as, again, you apply the same formula. It will be 2 into 2 minus 1 factorial, which is 1 factorial. Okay. So again, for this function to work, we need to know what is the value of 1 factorial. And 1 factorial, this is what we mean by base condition. Okay. So this is your base condition. Now the base condition is 1 factorial is equal to 1. So if n is equal to 1, now this is your base condition in your recursive formula. So when n is equal to 1, we define that n factorial is equal to 1. Okay. Or simply, right, it is the same like saying, see, when n is equal to 1, what is n factorial? It will be 1 factorial. So 1 factorial is equal to 1. Okay. That is what, right, this base condition means. So any recursive function, it should have this base condition. The reason why it should have the base condition is because the function will be calling itself, right, for any number of times until we hit the base condition. Once we hit the base condition, that recursion will stop. Okay. So if you are not writing the base condition, okay, if you are not writing the base condition, then what happens is your recursion will continue indefinitely. Okay. So that will be the issue. So let us write the same, right, by using this definition. So let us define another function, which is, so let us call that as fact. Again, right, let us pass n, right? So now, right, we have to apply simply, right? Simply we have to apply this formula. That's all. So what will be a recursive call? A recursive call is, it is fact into n minus 1, right? So we are calling the same function. This is a recursive call. We are calling the same function again here. But right, in original call, when you are calling it in your main program, okay, so this is right, this I change it as fact. In your main program, we are calling it with num. All right, here we will get a n. But next time you are calling the same function, it will be a smaller instance, right? A reduced instance of this one. So which is, right, n minus 1. So next call will be, right, for n minus 1. Now n minus 1, if the call is for n minus 1, then here, right, there will be another call which will be for n minus 2, which is n minus 1, right? N minus 1 minus 1. Again, next call will be n minus 1 minus 1, which is n minus 2. Again, n minus 2 minus 1 will be n minus 3. Like this, it goes on until it hits your base condition. So what is your base condition? Your base condition is, suppose if n, right, if it is equal to 1, then, right, what is it, right? You can return, right, whatever is your base condition. Now, what is the base condition? If n is equal to 1, factorial of that n factorial is equal to 1. So you can immediately return this one. If n is equal to 1, we can immediately return 1. Otherwise, what you can do? Otherwise, right? Now, right, we need to write return something, right? So if it is an else, again you return. Right? So what does it we return? See, if it is 5 factorial, what we do? We take the same number, and then, right, we make a recursive call here. Now this is your the number, right? The number whatever is passed to this call. So that is your 5. So this is your n. Okay. So if you compare it with n, fact of n, this is your n. And what you have here, this is again a factorial function call. So this is your function call. Okay. So this is your n. So we have 5, and this is your fact of n minus 1. Okay. So here, right, we will get n into your fact of n minus 1, because, right, for 5 factorial, we should, if we pass 5, we should get 5 into this has to be 4 factorial, right? So what is the function called for 4 factorial? It will be fact of 4 factorial. On 4 factorial, while you are running, right, we don't know, right, whether it is 5 or 4. So if it is n, if this is n, this will be n minus 1. If it is n, you see here. So if n is equal to 4, n minus 1 is 3. If n is equal to 3, n minus 1 is 2. Okay. So suppose, right, if n is equal to 1, this is your base condition. We directly go and return factorial of n is equal to 1. Okay. Suppose, right, if n is not 1, which is greater than greater than 1 condition. In that case, we apply a recursive. We recursively call the same function with n minus 1. We take that result and then we multiply it by n. Okay. So this is your idea, right? So let us see whether it works correctly. Okay, so we are able to get the answer. Factorial of 5 is 120. But right, let us look at, right, let us try to raise this program and understand how does it work. Okay, so the first call, it will be in your main program, we are actually doing fact of num. So the first call will be fact of 5. Okay, now, right, we are coming here. Now n is equal to 1. Whether n is equal to 1? No, the condition is false. Okay, so n is, right, not equal to 1. So what we do, we go to the else part. Okay, so in else part, we have return. See, this is having a return. Okay, that is very important. Okay, so return n into fact of n minus 1. So n value is equal to 5 now. So n is equal to 5, right? So we are coming to the else part. So here we have n into, so n value is 5. So 5 into fact of n minus 1. N minus 1 is 5 minus 1, 4. Now this is the function call that we are making. Okay, so this function call, it is calling the same function again. Okay, it is calling the same function again. So again, it will come to fact of 4. So this is your fact of 4. What is fact of 4? The function called fact of 4 will do. It will come again and it will check whether n is equal to 1. So n value is equal to 4 now. Whether n is equal to 1? No, n is not equal to 1. So we will come to the else part, right? So what is the else part? Here we will have n into fact of n minus 1. So n value is equal to 4, right? And fact of n minus 1, it will be 3. Okay. So now this is making a function call. See, it is not ending, right? This is making a function call fact of 3. So next call will be fact of 3. Now n value is equal to 3 now. And whether n is equal to 1? No, n is not equal to 1. So we will be coming to the else part. And in else part, we have n value is 3 now. So 3 into fact of n minus 1, which is 2. Okay. Now this is making again a function call. This is again a function call. So what we do is we make that function call fact of 2. And then here n value is equal to 2. So n is not equal to 1. So we will be coming to the else part. So here we have 2 into fact of n minus 1, which is 2 minus 1, which is 1. Now what is fact of 1? Now again, this is a function call. So we have fact of 1. Now n value is equal to 1, right? Now whether n value is equal to 1, right? Whether n value is equal to 1? Yes, right? So now we are getting the base condition. Now the condition is if it's true, okay. Now if it's true, what we are doing? We are returning 1. Now what does the return statement will do? A return statement will return whatever is the value that you are passing it, right? In the return statement, whatever the value is there, that value it will be returned to the caller. Okay, so we are returning, right? In fact of 1, this function call, it is returning 1. Now where it will be returned? It will be returned to the place where fact of 1 is called, right? So where we are calling fact of 1, at this place we are calling fact of 1. Okay, so at this place, this will be substituted as 1. Now if it is substituted as 1, we will get 2 into 1, which is equal to 1. Now what is which is equal to 2. Now what is happening with this 2? See, this is, right, this is what this part is, n into fact of 2. Similarly, this is 3 into fact of 2, 4 into fact of 3, 5 into fact of 4. And here we are having a return, right? So that we have missed out. Right? So I'm just writing that return, right? So here, right, again, return. Again, return. So here, right, there will be a return. Okay. Now, as soon as you compute, right, see, as soon as you compute 2 into 1, right, 2 into 1 is equal to 2. This value, right, this final value, that is what we are returning it here. Okay, so this will become return 2. This is return and 2 into factor 1. Now 2 into factor 1 is getting evaluated as 2. So we are returning 2. To where this 2 will be returned? 2 will be returned to the place where this function is called. So where we are calling this function. So this function is called in fact of 3. So in fact of 3, at this particular place, this 2 will get substituted. Okay, so if you substitute 2 here, so here it will become, now it will become return 3 into, so 3 into 2 is 6. Where it will be written? So we are returning 3 into 2 is 6, right? So return 6. Where it will be written? Where we have called this factor of 3. Where we have called, in fact of 4, we have called factor of 3. Okay. So in fact of 3, at this particular place, the 6 will be substituted. So we will get now 4 into 6, which is equal to 24. And this 24 will be written now, right? It will be written, right? It is written by factor 4 to the caller of factor 4. So who is calling factor 4? Factor 5 is calling factor 4. So at this particular place, right, 24 will be substituted. So we will get return 5 into 24. I made a mistake. Okay, so it will be right 5 into 24. So so what is 5 into 24? So we will get 20. We are getting 120. Okay, so now right 120, right, it will be written. It will be written by fact of 5. Okay, now who is the caller for fact of 5, right? So who is the caller for fact of 5? The caller for fact of 5 is, we are passing that 5 from the main function, right? So this is your main program. So in your main program, we are actually we have called actually this fact of 5. Okay, so now right, fact of 5, the caller for fact of 5 is, it is not right inside the same function. It is right outside this function. So this is the place where fact of 5 is. So it will come back, right? The control will come back to the place where you have called it, where you have called fact of 5. So it is this place. So here we will print factorial of your 5 is 120. Okay. So this is what, right, is happen. It will happen internally, right? So this entire execution. So this is what will happen internally whenever you are having your factorial function. So any factorial function, it will make recursive calls. There will be a sequence of recursive call until you hit the base condition. Once you hit the base condition, whatever is the value that you are returning from the base condition, it will be passed back. Okay, it will be passed up the recursive calls. Okay, and after all the recursive calls, the pending operations are executed. So for example, what is the pending operation? See, this is your pending operation. This operation that you have to do, this is your pending operation, this 5 into 2. This is simply a recursive call. Again, here also we are having a pending operation here. We have to, whatever is the result that we get from fact of 3, that we have to multiply it by 4. This is the pending operation we have. So these are right. So coming from fact of 5 to fact of 4, fact of 4 to fact of 3, fact of 3 to fact of 2, fact of 2 to fact of 1. These are the sequence of recursive calls we make. And once we have hit the base condition, we are returning a value here, and this value, it will be passed back up the recursive calls. So this one, it will be returned to fact of 1. Whatever is the value we get from fact of 2, that will be returned to fact of 3. Whatever the value that we get from fact of 3, it will be returned to fact of 4. And from fact of 4, we will be returning value to fact of 5. And who is the caller for fact of 5? It is your main program. So we will be returning the value of fact of 5 to main program. Okay. So similarly, right, there is also another function which is called as Fibonacci. Okay, I will just give you the definition of Fibonacci, so you can even try it on your own. See, the base condition is
Sir,
you can define. Yes,
sir,
yes,
sir, we
yes.
have EC department is having a meeting now, sir. From
Okay,
industry readiness.
okay.
already started,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Fine. So we will stop here, right? Thank you, right? We will continue tomorrow.